Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about some ICM basics. We use independent chip model to convert our stacks into percentages of the total or remaining prize pool. And with ICM equity calculations, we can understand what amount of money we can get if the tournament ends immediately. So is ICM in MTTs equivalent to cash? In cash games, one chip is constant and equivalent to its dollar value. But in MTTs, it's different. The amount of money you will win depends on what place you will get. And the most important thing, that in ICM, winning chips are cheaper than losing the chips. Because when you win the tournament, you will get all the chips, but you won't get all the prize pool. You will get only the money for the first place. And it means that you should avoid the situations when you risk your stack in the situation like a flip, when you go 50% against 50%, and it will be a very bad thing to happen for you. So be careful and avoid this stuff. Let's see how our stack size affects our game. If you are a chip leader, you can play very wide pre-flop. You can raise up to 57% being on hijack because your opponents will play tighter in ICM. They won't resist a lot against you, and you will be getting their chips easily. But remember, if there are a lot of fish players, amateur players who like to play and don't care about the ICM factor, you should not be that active. With the middle stack size, it's close to chip EV situation, so we can open raise up to 27% in this situation. But be careful, if you have aggressive chip leader after you, you should be more careful because you will probably get in a lot of 3-bets, and you probably remember that we are afraid of losing chips. It is more important for us to keep our stack size than to try to steal some blinds. With the short stack, we play kinda tight. We still can expect that some players get a cooler, get busted out, and we will get more money. Sometimes being the shortest stack size, folding can bring us a lot of profit, especially in the situations when we have a lot of weak players who play aggressive and don't care about ICM, so they can get busted out, and you can even find yourself in a heads up. So how are we going to cold call and 3-bet? Once again, we always should take a look at what stack size we have and what stack size has our opponent. Here are two examples. On the left, there is button against a chip leader, and on the right, it is it is button versus middle stack. So our cold calls would be close to the same in those two spots, but you can see the difference in 3-bets. Especially with ace-king offsuited, we aren't 3-betting this hand. Do you know why? Because we are afraid of getting jams from some pairs, and you remember that we are trying to avoid the situations when we will be playing for our stack, when we are not sure that we are ahead of our opponent. Because the chip leader can occasionally jam 10s, jam jacks or queens, and it would be a flip, and it is terrible for us because we are the second stack in the tournament. Also, the chip leader can start jamming hands like queen 10, queen 9, queen jack as a 4-bet bluff, and guess what? We will be still playing the hand close to a flip, and it is terrible as well. So we can expect our ace-king to be called. And when we are covering our opponent, the middle stack, we can be more active in case of 3-bet. So we will have this polar range. We 3-bet as a bluff those suited weak kings. We 3-bet our value part, and we try to cold call the middle. Occasionally, against some of our opponents, we still can try to 3-bet bluff those hands, but it's not like that much necessary. It depends on how tight our opponent playing against 3-bets. Let's find out how type of the tournament affects our game. Here's the situation in PKO and in freeze out when we are on the button and playing against big blind and small blind. So we are first in to act in the spot. Of course, we are very active here because we have middle position player who has only 3 big blinds left, so probably our opponents know about it, and they will be playing very tight because they expect these 3 big blinds get busted out soon and get the pay jump. So in PKO, we are ready to play about 69% of our range. So we have open raises and we have jams. You can see that we open raise strong hands, like strong aces. We open raise weak hands like Jack 7 off suited, and we are going to fold them, of course, if we get jammed from those blinds. But this suited part is going all in for the reason that we are not so happy to open raise fold suited hands, so we simply jam it. So it was PKO tournament, and take a look how it goes in the freeze out. We can see that in freeze outs, opponents would be folding way more for the reason that in freeze outs, the pay jumps are bigger, so our opponents want to get busted out more or less. And we can simply play 84% of our range by jamming and open raising. The idea of choosing between cold open raise and jam is similar to the left part with PKO. So we can open raise some weak hands, open raise fold them, open raise call strong hands, and jam suited part of our range. The next thing we are going to try to find out is how to play on big blind in ICM situations when we face a raise. Open raise size matters. So on the left part, we can see that we are facing 2 big blinds open raise, and on the right part, there is 2.3 big blinds open raise. It's just 0.3 big blinds open raise difference, but see how our cold call frequency shrinks. As you can see, there is no very short stack on this table, but we still play very careful, especially against increased sizings, because those 0.3 big blinds matter a lot. And the software doesn't offer us some sizing 3 bets, it's just jam or call against 2.3 size. Now we are going to see how the fact that there is 3 big blinds player on the table and how we are going to defend our big blind in this situation. Let's start with comparing chip PV and freeze out ICM situations. So in chip PV, we don't care about the guy with 3 big blinds. We simply play our game, cold call a lot, defend our big blind, and have fun. But in ICM, it's a completely different spot. So basically, we can cold call some of all our pairs, expecting to get a set, very strong suited aces. We can try to jam, re-steal, but we are not calling anything below that. And this is a very important thing. So if you have very short stack on the table, play extremely tight and you will be right. Let's sum it up a little bit. So if it is freeze out type of the tournament, we tend to play tighter than in PKOs because pay jumps are bigger, the bubble factor is higher for us, and we don't want to risk it. If we are not chip leaders, of course, then. So we always should monitor the correlation between our stack and the stacks of our opponents and make decisions based on that. So for example, if we are the chip leader, and especially if we have some low stack in the game, we can put a lot of pressure on our opponents by open raising, 3-betting. But if we are aggressive and the stack size shorter than we becomes aggressive as well, we should be overfolding because people still know that this is ICM. They won't be bluffing a lot, and we should be avoiding this situation. So feel free to press folds. We are earning our chips by our aggression, not when we are trying to be aggressive against aggression we face. If you get lucky and your table is full of fish, on the final table, I mean, forget about those fancy stuff and play very fair, especially if these fishy players are very aggressive. Even if you are cheap leader, play solid range, let them fight each other, and if you have cool hand, open raise it, try to get value from them, but don't be too cocky. And if it happened that you got into a final table in the big field, play more careful because pay jumps are really high and the bubble factor on us is very high. So we should not be that much aggressive, especially if we are short or middle stack size. We need to wait for the pay jumps and wait for our moment to double up, not being too much aggressive. Thank you for your attention. Good luck on the final tables. Bye bye.